This is ACC Nation, your source for ACC sports coverage. Connect with us at accnation.net. Listen to our podcast and streaming radio. Watch us on YouTube and follow us on your favorite social media outlet. Now, here's Will and Jim.
So this guy that's joining us is telling me that he is it. And I mean it.
With the S and H at the beginning of it. But yeah.
This is true. This is true.
I don't need an introduction.
Jeremy Wahman, Cardinal Sports Zone. Thank you for joining us, man. It's been a little while since we've seen you, but we keep in touch one way or the other. If it's not one thing, it's another. I'm sending you some kind of malarkey.
I'll be honest with you. The little Facebook gifs that you send me are quite disturbing. I would ask you to please stop. I didn't grow up in Australia, so I don't need to see a bunch of Aborigine people half clothed or no clothes. So I appreciate it. Will, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I see you got the yeet behind you.
Got the yeet behind me. Got my title belt on the.
Yep.
You are looking as good as I've seen you in a long time, man.
Thank you. I've actually been working really hard on it, and thanks to my wife, who's down well over 100 pounds herself. So
that's dope, man. I was going to say you're channeling your inner Meyer shopping cart boy today, and I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, man.
And Jim, you're looking very. I just crawled out from underneath of a homeless bridge tonight.
As usual, yes.
As usual. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Why haven't I been on in a while? Why do I have to reach out?
Well,
that insulted me.
Well, here you go, because it is ACC Nation, so we like to have a variety of people on, and we try to hit as many bases as possible, and it's difficult to do with all of the schools, and then focusing just on one person for one school. Yeah, we hear about it. So
I should be a regular. I mean, the fact of the matter is, when I'm on, the ratings are through the roof. The needle moves. It's all facts. You see this. This is the Louisville Sports Media Championship. I didn't just order this for myself. I won this. I earned it.
You just didn't order that for yourself?
I didn't order that for myself. No, it was bestowed upon me by the tribal chiefs.
By the tribe.
Of this fine nation of Louisville, the Card Nation. So I hold that with great honor. But no, guys.
So when's the next time you're defending it?
Anytime, any place, anybody, steel cage. I'm in for it. Anybody that wants to step up. Let's do it. I'll be in Charlotte next week. Something I haven't been able to say in a long time. So if you want to come find me, if you want some, come get some. That's all I'm going to say.
Want it? Come get it.
Absolutely. I'll be traveling with. I'll be wearing it around Charlotte.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're in Charlotte, somebody's going to step up, man. It's not as much of the wrestling center of the world as it used to be, but there's still some of them old school guys down there.
Well, I mean, I'm still 6'7", 350. So you could, even me at 50% health wise is 100% better than most people.
I'll take you right there, buddy. Right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, let dreamers dream. That's all I'll say.
Well, we all gotta have dreams, right?
Listen, I understand you not contacting me for the last couple of years on the basketball side because
couple of years.
speaking of, well, we've not talked. I looked. We've not talked about basketball since year one of the man that shall not be named. Now we talked football a little bit, but we've not talked. I've not been on for basketball.
I mean, has there been reason to?
Listen,
before this season.
Exactly. We didn't want to embarrass you.
No, I would never be embarrassed. I would still shine. Even with the program in shambles, I would shine. I'm a diamond.
So would you say you're like Rob Van Dam? You're the whole effing show?
I would say, you told me that the other day, but I would also say it.
Mm-hmm.
I say there's a country.
I'm a little shy though. I'm a little shy. So
is that why you're so far back?
That fits you perfectly. I'm just an old lump of coal, but someday I'm going to be a dime. I'm going to be a diamond someday.
I thought you were going to say beautiful crazy, but I like that one too. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll shine you up here. We'll get the rough edges off of you.
Oh, I'll shine you up real nice. Turn you sideways. Never mind. That's the Rock's thing. That's Dwayne's thing, as I like to call him. That's his thing.
the final boss.
Lord have mercy. All right, enough of the nonsense. Of course, there's going to be more of it coming. You know that every time. Hey, Jeremy, thank you though, really, for joining us, because we always love talking to you.
I appreciate the Cash App that came through today.
Well, there you go. Hey, I had to. Got to pay the man. Got to pay the piper.
Absolutely. What's Rowdy Roddy got to do with anything?
I don't know.
I was just say, to be the man, you got to pay the man.
That's right. Something like
Wait
that.
Wait a minute. That's not. I didn't think this was that type of show.
It is. It's ACC really After Dark.
What can I tell you? It ain't even dark yet.
No, I was shocked to see it was still bright outside at 6:30. I asked my wife. All jokes aside, we were sitting down having dinner, and I don't normally like to eat this late, but I had some other stuff to do today, and I got home and she fixed a really good dinner as always. Love you, sweetie. And I looked outside and I was like, well, I guess it's not as late as I thought it was. What time is it? She's like 6:30, and I was like, holy crap! Oh, the time changed last night. Let's go. I love the bright. I love the outside. I love the daylight.
That's right.
Let's get it. Speaking of daylight, some might say the Louisville basketball program has seen a new light this year.
What the hey? What the hey? I'm sitting here looking, number 2 seed in the ACC tournament. What the hey? What happened to? I mean, I'm just shocked. I'm dumbfounded. I'm befuddled.
You're half right on the dumbfounded. I'm just kidding. As you all know, we give each other a lot of. All three give each other a lot of crap, dude. I'll be honest with you. This is a guy in Pat Kelsey that none of us knew anything about. When the rumors about the coaches started flying, it was like there were 15 other. Do you want to know the other names that I heard before I heard Pat Kelsey?
Yes, tell us.
Okay. Let me let you in on a little something. So
we're willing to listen to you. Not that we have a choice.
You don't. Scott Drew, Dusty May, Chris Beard, Josh Sharts or Shirts. I call him Sharts because that never made a whole lot of sense. Rick Pitino Jr., Will Wade, Mick Cronin, Nate Oates, Jerome Tang, Eric Musselman, Shaheen Holloway, Shaka Smart, Billy Donovan, Jay Wright. Then after all those came and gone, it's down to Shirts and a guy named Pat Kelsey. And I'm like, well, who the heck is that? So I started doing some research, and immediately I say, oh, this is just a gimmicky guy. He's getting out there on the court, throwing people's shoes. He's good. I mean, I like a guy like myself, doesn't take himself seriously, goofy, likes to have fun. So a little bit of KPTSD, that's Kenny Payne post-traumatic stress disorder for those of y'all that couldn't put it together. And I immediately think, well, okay, whatever. And then a couple of the players' names, Chucky Hepburn, he comes through. Okay, Javon Hadley. All right. Terrence Edwards. Okay. James Scott. Oh, okay. The roster on paper looks like an all-star team of players of the years from other conferences, although at mid-majors. And then you got Javon Hadley and Kason Pryor, who are they're major at major conferences, but Kason Pryor was at South Florida. I wouldn't consider the whatever conference they're in this year a major conference. But the only two D1 Power 5 conference guys we got was Javon Hadley and Chucky Hepburn, and they were really, really good. So you start to think, well, okay, if he can get these guys to play, we'll be in decent shape. We'll win 20. We'll go 20-10. That'll be better than what we've done the last 2 years. And then you start to think, well, we had a pretty good roster these past 2 years. They just, for whatever reason, poor head coaching is what I called it. They just can't put it together. There's no chemistry. There's no gelling. Then the season started. And we had a trip to the Bahamas and lost about 3 players in 4 weeks. And it was like, okay, back to the pain, no pun intended. Started off 6-5, I think it was. And you start to think, and then those 5 losses were to Duke, number one at the time, Tennessee, Duke, that team down the road that sleeps with their brothers, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. All teams were ranked at the time that they defeated us. And it's like, well, even if we're the 26th best team in the country, that's better than what we've been doing. And then the conference season started. And man, it's been unbelievable. So without foreshadowing anything into anything you're going to ask me going forward, I'll stop there. But it has been a roller coaster ride. But Pat Kelsey has changed even the most cynical of minds around here, because a lot of people, there was even I won't call him out by name, Jeff. No, I'm just kidding. But there was a local radio personality that when the hire was made and announced on the radio, he was like, "Are you kidding me? Pat Kelsey, who in the heck is Pat?" Like, embarrassed himself. Even if he didn't end up being the guy, it was an embarrassing moment. And yeah, it's been everything we'd hoped for. Even when we did our preseason picks, I think I said 22-8, but that was hopeful. That was me putting the Jeremy spin on it. Oh yeah, we'll do 22-8. Never did I think we'd tie the mark for most regular season wins. Sorry, no, we broke the mark for conference wins in the season by Louisville, and top 3 most regular season wins. So it's been crazy.
So hey, you don't mind if I let's see here. I get Jeff on the phone here, since you've insulted him, and
I don't even know a Jeff that's on the radio in Louisville. That's why I picked that name. So.
Okay. Well, I do.
You do?
I thought maybe I would call him and see if that was since you don't. Okay.
Sorry, I had to put my Ulafala on, or as we call it here in Louisville, it's the Luafala.
I can see you guys still love your brethren down the road too. So that never changes.
Well, since most of them have uncles that are their sisters or brothers, then they also love their brothers there too. So
I'm my own grandpa. Okay. It originated on that side of the state.
Listen, as my best friend Clem told me from Lexington growing up, he loved his Uncle Daddy and his Aunt Mama. So that's all I'll say.
Jeez. Oh boy. Well, this has been a pleasant surprise, because quite honestly, seeing now, I can't speak for everybody. Obviously, there's a lot of teams and a lot of people that want to see Louisville, do bad, and they don't care. And it's like, they were rooting for you guys to have the worst season, the worst coach, just debacle after debacle going on there. I'm just the opposite of that. The excitement of the Yum Center when you're having games and things are going the right way is phenomenal. And it only adds to the conference. It makes everybody in the conference better, because they're having to compete against a good team. It elevates the conference. It elevates those teams that are playing. So this is a nice thing to see. And, I'm hoping that this streak with Coach continues. It looks like it's, it may take the team someplace here in the NCAA tournament.
Brother, we thought, again, somebody not just being media, right? I'm a fan. I grew up here in Louisville. I played football at Louisville. I love Louisville. Realistic, Jeremy. I'm a little bit more realistic and a little bit more harder on the coaches than most people are, because I've lived it and I've been through it. I thought this was going to be a 2-year, 3-year turnaround. And let's give them the only thing that Kenny Payne was right about the whole time was in his introductory press conference when he said it was going to take 3 years to turn the Louisville basketball around. He was correct. He just didn't factor in that he wasn't going to be here year 3.
Yeah, wrong direction at the time.
What an imbecile. Sorry. I love him though.
Well, it's like with most coaches and sometimes even with players. You talk about all these mid-conference guys that have come in and done really well, and people don't expect that. But sometimes you just got to find the right place.
Sure.
And obviously it wasn't the right place for Kenny. So, maybe he'll go on someplace and find his niche and,
No,
and
he won't. He won't.
Well,
he's going to retire. He got $6, $7, $8 million from us for leaving.
That's never enough.
He's going to fade off in the distance. He'll never be a head coach anywhere ever.
It's only 1 or 2 margaritas on the right beach. So I'm just telling you.
That's very fair. And yeah, it just wasn't a good thing. And it wasn't. We all thought, not to beat a dead horse, but we all thought this master recruiter was going to come in here and be a great head coach.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't.
It didn't click.
No, it didn't even push. Forget clicking. Like when you push the charger in and you get it in halfway and then it clicks. My man couldn't even hit the hole. Shout out to our guy Sean, by the way.
We're going to leave this conversation right where it is and let Will take over, because he's a lot more focused and solid mind than the two of us are. So
that's debatable. Well, Jeremy, I think the thing that impressed me most about what Kelsey's done this year is, and you mentioned it, turned over pretty much the entire roster, lost Corin Johnson after 2 games, lost Kayshawn Pryor after 7. Abubakar Traore missed 10 games of basically the whole month of December, and he had to adapt. And, some of that was part of the reason maybe they got out of the gate so slow, but I think this is just overall, I think this is, I don't know if I would call this, I mean, obviously there's a lot of senior talent on this team, but this is the true definition of a team, this Louisville basketball team.
Man, you took the words right out of my mouth. I said on the show Friday night, which airs at 11:05 for you nostalgic wrestling fans. We go at 5 after.
I caught some of it Friday night, actually.
Well, I appreciate that. But we do that for 2 reasons. First off, me, Sean, Sam, Joey, we always watch SmackDown every Friday, and it goes off at 11. Gives us 5 minutes to come up to our beautiful new studio and do the show. And I said, this may be one of the most fundamental teams we've ever had. And it may be one of the most teamy teams we ever had. Now, what I mean by that is it doesn't matter if you shut down Rain Smith, you're leaving Chucky open. Chucky goes for 30. If you double Chucky, Rain's going to hit 176 threes during the game. If you try to double them both, Javon Hadley can go for 30. If all 3 of those are off, Terrence Edwards is going to have a 30-point game. I mean, they lean on each other. They know when they're not having good games. And the most remarkable thing about this streak to me, we were 17-1 in our last 18 games. And I'd like to say 17 and a half for me, because when we went to Indianapolis for the Royal Rumble, the Georgia Tech game day. And when we got out of the car, we were watching the game in the car. We get out of the car, Louisville's up 10 and a half. And I'm like, all right, I don't even have to watch the rest of the game. Going in here and enjoying this magnificent event, 70,000 people, awesome time. We'll talk about that at a different time. And my guy Steve Rummage walks up to me and says, dude, we lost the game. I'm like, how in the heck did we lose the game? So I'm going to say 17 and a half wins the last 18 games. But the most impressive thing about it is even during that stretch, we've been beating ACC teams by 20 points. We lost Chucky for a few games. We lost Rain for a few games during that stretch. And we've just persevered. Terrence has stepped up. Javon stepped up. And a lot of people will say, well, the ACC's having a down year this year. And I'll agree with that. There's Louisville, there's Clemson, there's Duke, and there's not really a whole lot else after that. It would be very fair for somebody to say, oh, man, the ACC is trash this year. Okay, fair enough. But why does that criticism why does that not apply to every other team? When Florida won the SEC national championship both years, they were in an SEC conference that had a subpar Kentucky team and nobody else. From 1980 to 2023, the SEC had 2 good teams every year. But when their good teams were good, everybody pumped them up. Everybody, just, oh, they're awesome. But come on, now the ACC is trash when the top 3 teams can play. I mean, Duke's beaten top teams in the country this year. Clemson beat the Smurf turds down the road. Excuse my language. And we hung with every team that we lost to. We hung with each and every one of them. The Duke game was like 5-point game with 2 minutes left, and we started fouling out, and they caught fire. Ole Miss, I think, is the only one we really didn't have. That's right after we had lost a couple of our players, and it just, you could tell once we got down, it just wasn't a good thing. But that's not how we played the conference season. The way we played the conference season is we get hot. Once we start to cool off, we start driving to the basket instead of continuing to shoot. A key factor this Louisville team, a key attribute this Louisville team has is that even if teams come back, they find a way to push that. Case in point, not case in prior, but case in point, Stanford gets all the way back to within 6 or 7, and we pushed that out. Against California, they pulled back in within 2, and we blew the doors off of them. So this team's got, that's something I've never seen at Louisville anyway. I don't recall seeing it anywhere else, but I've never seen a team be able to just thwart off everybody that gets hot and gets close. Or even if they take a 1-point lead, Louisville's on one of their boom runs and they get it right back. So I'm very impressed with this Louisville team. I know it doesn't have the great, I'm not saying this is the greatest 5-star, 4-star attribute like talent that we've ever had, but as far as the intangibles, as far as being a team, they're up there.
Yeah, those 4 stars and 5 stars will come. We'll give it time. But let's talk Chucky real quick. He seems like the ultimate, if he's on your team, you're going to love him player. And one of the moments that stood out with me in that case, I believe it was right after the win. I think it was at SMU, where one of the players, I think he refused to shake, or he didn't shake hands with, I think it was one of Kelsey's kids. And he basically went over and told him, hey, you go shake his hand.
Yeah.
And I just think that's so cool because it you know, you respect the kid, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, these kids are all like, you hear it time and time again. Well, we only want good character kids here. We want nice kids here. You don't. You do, but you want great athletes that are great people. And we normally, it's about half and half on our roster. Every single one of these kids, they're nice, they're polite, they're courteous, they do things like that's not surprising. I mean, I remember that happening, but like, even if I didn't, you telling me that wouldn't shake me at all. I'd be like, oh yeah, well that's Coach Kelsey. They're from top to bottom, they're all great kids. To tell a quick short story, that'll probably be longer than I anticipated. We had the TBT tournament here in Louisville this year. It's the alumni tournament where you get to get a group of your old players and other players from the area, and you play other teams from around the country. And I was able to secure, because one of my friends was on the team, humble brag, front row seats to that game. And I was in the in the end zone under the basket. And I'm there about an hour early because it had been a while since I've been out in the public because of all my health issues. So I'm sitting there, a bunch of people coming up talking, giving me, hey, good to see you. And the entire men's basketball team shows up, and they sit right there next to me and behind me. And the whole time they are cheering like they had been fans of this TBT team that none of us have seen before collectively. Their entire, like, they were cheering. They, like, honestly, it was like they were real fans. They were supporting, they were putting on for the city. It was an amazing, that's when my mind started to change. That's when I was like, maybe these guys are going to work out here, because you're going to be skeptical when the only guy you return is a guy who played probably a total of 15 minutes the entire season last year. He definitely your GPA guy. Really cool kid, though. I loved him here last year, and I really think he does a good job here this year, too. But when you see how the kids are treating the fans of the city, they bought in, regardless of whether you believe it, whether you think Kelsey's just a pitch man or whatever. Everybody that I've talked to, player, coach, family member even, have said that this is the real Pat Kelsey all the time. This is not a show. He is at 124 hours a day. And this is the kind of coach we needed here after the boring 2 years we got out of milk dud head. So yeah, a pleasant change, a welcome change. And sorry, I just have a lot of animosity towards the old coach because one of my friends was on the staff with him and he didn't make him look too well. But shout out to that guy. I know we're going to get off topic a little bit. My brother Nolan Smith, he's at Memphis, assistant coach, killing it down there with Penny. They're the conference champions of the whatever league they've decided to call that this year, and doing a great job down there, like I knew he would, like he should have done here if he were allowed to. But yeah, a little bit of animosity towards KPKP TSD, but I'm over it.
Yeah. Well, Nolan's making the tournament this year with Memphis, so at least he's got. And who knows? Maybe if things play out, they could face Louisville at some point.
I was going to say I cannot wait. That's one thing I don't know about other teams around the country, but every year they try to put us in a storyline in the NCAA tournament, whether it be Morehead State, whether it be Rick Pitino's son, whether it be trying to put us in the same pot as Pitino. Guaranteed, our second game, if not our first, will be against Arkansas or Memphis. That's just the way it's going to be.
Because that for those of you who don't know, that's where Kenny Payne is now. He's on Cal staff at Arkansas.
Oh, for real? I just was talking
he really
about
is.
Calipari. No, I know.
Yeah.
Come on, Will. Come on, Will.
I figured
no
after
yeet.
you left,
no yeet. You get no yeet for that one. But no, they're going to put us in the storyline because they love to. And maybe that's the way they do with all the other teams, but it just feels so personal with Louisville every year. I kind of like it, though, because it gives us a chance to exercise our demons, even though the last couple times it's not worked out for us really well. So we'll see. I'm just glad to be back in the tournament, glad to be going to Charlotte to cover the ACC tournament for Cardinal Sports Zone. And I'm excited, man. This is the most fun basketball's been in a long time. Louisville, I don't know if I'm sure you all know, but we have now won, is it 25 or 26 games? 26?
25.
25 games. I was right the first time. Shouldn't have second get. Well, 26 after Thursday. I digress. In the last 3 years combined, we won 25 games. This year, we won 25 games. So it's fun. It's fun to. I never give up on my team. Even when I was sitting here through all that miserable basketball, I still supported my team. I still went to the games. I still loved them. Those guys, I hate it for them the most because collectively, really good talent, really good kids, and they just didn't have any direction from the top. So I'm excited to see how I have been excited to see how they're doing across the country this year. And really happy for them, and we'll probably end up playing one of them in the tournament if it's not Cal and it's not Nolan. So it is what it is.
Jim?
Jeremy, I want you to analyze the conference for just a moment. The conference has lost in basketball some of the best coaching talent imaginable over the last few years. And Keats being fired here just recently is just another loss of talent. But everything goes through change. And as you guys have witnessed, you have gone through the pain of yeah.
Pun intended or no?
No, absolutely intended.
Yeah. It was intended.
Very punny.
Yeah, that's me. But I mean, you felt that, right? It's just one of those things where you sometimes you got to go through it and you don't find exactly who you need. So now we're looking at all these teams. You guys have turned the corner and are doing well. Duke, they had a little bit of an off season or two there too, after, Krzyzewski, toward the end of Krzyzewski and Shire taking over. Then you start looking at Larinaga leaving, Hamilton leaving, Tony Bennett leaving, Boeheim leaving. And you just go on down this list and it's like staggering how much talent has departed. And people are trying to find their coach.
Yeah.
Now, how long that takes is anybody's guess. But again, you guys are in a unique position. So I want you to sort of take your position there of what has transpired in Louisville and talk about how that's going to maybe how this is going to apply to the rest of the conference teams that are looking for that new coach or have a new coach that's coming in, and what it's going to take to turn things around and maybe get the ACC as a whole back to the best basketball conference in college basketball.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of former ACC players that have used the word embarrassed. They're embarrassed of how bad the league is this year. Multiple people. But you think over the last 10 years, the ACC has lost Rick Pitino, Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Mike Bray, Jim Boeheim, Tony Bennett, Larinaga, Hamilton. And I'm leaving people out. That's just to name a lot of a few there. It's going to take, to answer your question, it's going to take a team. You're going to have to get the right coach first off, and then the kids he goes after are going to have to buy in. That's why this is working for us. Now, some people say, well, you're benefiting from having an 18-2 conference record or 17-2 conference record because the ACC is down this year. Well, yeah, but even in a down year, the ACC is still better than most conferences, I believe. I hate the fact that we're glorifying the SEC now like we do in football. Nothing gets me more tired of football than everybody saying, oh, man, the SEC is so tough. They just beat each other every week, and then they go to bowl games and get smacked around by other teams. And it's like, but their best teams normally do well in the playoff. Their best teams normally do well in the top bowls. But for the other 752 teams in the conference, they don't. And I hate that the basketball conference, you've got a team that's going to have 11 losses. That's about 75 miles to the east of us. That's ranked in the top 10 and going to go to the NCAA tournament. That is absurd. I don't care how good your conference is. You're celebrating wins over Missouri. Get out of here. You're going to, like, I can remember a year when we were on the bubble with 12 losses, and you're telling me 11 loss team is top 10, top 15, and you are refusing to drop them out. Now that's a little bit of rival bias there, but I mean, I don't know if you all agree or not. Do you think 11 lost teams should be in the top 25 regardless of the difficulty of conference, especially when they've had a couple of good wins this year. Let's not knock them for that. They've had a lot of horrible losses. So do you all I know is I'm interested in seeing the top 25 poll when it comes out tomorrow, because that's going to tell me a lot about where we're going to be. I know they're projecting us to be a 6 or a 7, which is absurd to me. If you're a top 15 team, you should at least be in the first 4 seed lines. And they're even Memphis. I was talking to Nolan earlier today. He was like, they've got us predicted to be an 8 or a 9. I'm like, y'all are a top 20 basketball team. How does that? Well, because they want to make sure and that's what, I know I'm rambling, but that's why they're trying to expand the NCAA tournament so to 952 teams, because they want to make sure they don't leave any of their precious SEC teams out that should be left out. But that rant is over. I apologize. Y'all know how I get. I get excited, long-winded, some would say.
Oh, good.
It is what it is. It makes for great radio, I believe. That's what my mom told me anyway.
It just, yeah. I remember your mom. She used to be my boss a long time ago.
Yeah. What?
Yep. You do have a point there, and it's been brought up a lot by a lot of people outside of this conference, other conferences, other places, talking about the fact that, the media has gotten to this point where it's twisted things. Yeah. And, it's for the benefit of the bottom line. It's not a realistic sort of projection of where a team ought to be ranked. Now, I've gotten to a point where, to be honest with you, I look at top 25 rankings that come out every week, football, basketball, whatever. I mean, there are some sports which I actually believe, they have got the stuff down and they know what they're doing, and the way they do it is perfect. It leaves a lot of the subjectivity out of it. But quite honestly, every week, top 25 polls that come out, you might as well glance at them, crumple them up, throw them in file 13. That's what they're worth, because they're not a realistic reflection of what each team is actually doing or where they should be ranked. And the fact that we have teams that suddenly go from, let's say, top 10 and disappear immediately out of the top 25 after one or two losses, like early in a season, really makes me question things. So
insane.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, insane in the brain. Insane in the membrane.
I want to bring something up really quick, because I feel like you all are disrespecting me.
I will disrespect you all I want.
I thought I told you all the last time to never show up to this show with that blue background again. It's supposed to be red only.
Oh, I see.
And I need to speak to somebody, because I'm pretty sure that in my contract with you all, I said I only wanted red M&Ms. There's an orange one in here. I didn't approve the orange. Yeah, I didn't approve the orange M&M. And I don't think this is fresh spring water, but I'll let it slide because I love you guys so much. But next time we got to tighten this up a little bit, man.
This may even further disturb you, because I'm drinking coffee out of this. So just saying,
it's very apparent now, Jim, that it's going to have to be me and you in a cage for the championship, with Will as the guest referee that I'm going to pay off before the match.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. He will be my Earl Hebner.
Yeah. I see how it's playing out here. Talk to me a little bit about how, and this is one of the things that came up with Keats. People are talking about that NIL money and how important it is for NC State to get their act together, get their NIL money there so that they can get good coaches, good players, and start being competitive in basketball. How is the NIL picture looking at Louisville?
Well, I mean, here's what I'll tell you. We didn't pay a ton of money for any one player, and it seems to work out really well. I can also tell you that one of the kids that I will not compromise his name, one of the kids that left got almost $1 million to go play at a different school, and that school is doing horribly this year. And
I know who this is.
Not. You probably do.
Yep.
And it's not all that money's not all, especially when you have. So to kind of piggyback back to answer the other question, what are schools in the ACC going to have to do to do what we've done? They're going to have to get kids to buy in, and it's a couple of the kids we had on the team last year didn't buy. They wouldn't have bought in anyway. I think they were probably also hurt by the way that he who shall not be named anymore this show treated them as well, because the head coach didn't treat them very well. So they probably left for greener pastures, they thought. And then they get to these new schools and they think the new coach is going to treat them like the old coach did, and they don't. And you start to see that on the court as well. How insane is it, by the way? You make a Final Four one year and the next year they fire you. That would never have happened in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Now they can say, well, NIL, we paid all these players like a total of $20 million to be here. I'm exaggerating, hopefully. And you didn't make you're not going to make the tournament. I don't even know if NC State, are they in line to make the conference tournament? I don't think so.
No, they're out. They missed it.
They're out. Okay, they missed it.
Yep.
So it's like that's probably why you got fired. But you missed it 1 year, and that's it just took you on a storybook run last year in the NCAA tournament. Probably one of the most memorable runs for NC State ever. Probably the second behind the Valvano run back. I don't even know if Jim, you were alive then. I don't think I was.
I remember.
But you remember.
Yep.
I wasn't born yet.
It was spectacular.
Probably. I don't know. But that it's crazy to me. I think Keats should have got another year to okay, now if I'm not good 2 years in a row, let me go. But he's gonna get a nice little chunk to leave too. So I don't feel too bad for
him. Yeah. It's what, 8? Is it 8 million that he's walking out with?
Versus 6 or 8. I can't remember. It's between that. I wish I could get paid $8 million not to do something.
Well, I can promise you 8, and you don't have to do it.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, if you're going to give me $8 million, I will not do whatever you want me to, Jim.
Okay, so there you go.
I'll never talk again on the radio or podcast.
It's never going to happen.
That would never happen.
That would never happen. I'm just sort of the opposite. I would say I would agree with you, Jeremy, from the standpoint of many moons ago that probably would not have happened because it was a whole different world in which we existed in. In today's world, I'm surprised that he was not fired before. And the fact that he took that team as far as he did is the only thing was his saving grace. He was given this year to repeat it or do something, and failed spectacularly and went right back into the what we expect out of that team under his tutelage. So that doesn't surprise me that Corrigan canned him. I mean, it really doesn't. They need to move on. They need to be competitive. And I'll tell you, one of the things is that, and I'll let you guys chew on this a little bit. Will and I have kind of talked about this just a hair, but with this new agreement with the ACC and all the teams in regard to media rights and everything, it's performance now. If you're performing, you're going to make the money. Louisville's put itself in a situation here with football and basketball that they're going to be performing and bringing the eyes. That means more money coming in the door. NC State can either sit back, continue to do the same thing, and lose out on money, or they can follow your footsteps and do the right thing. I mean, it's either put up or shut up time. And that's really what it comes down to. Will's got plenty of good questions instead of pontificating like me.
Well, I was going to say I was waiting for him to start talking because his questions are always on point. But let me say this really quick before you start. Will, you know how much I appreciate you. NC State will be back immediately. The rumors that they're going to hire Will Wade, that's the guy I wanted here at Louisville prior to finding out about Kelsey. He's the type of guy that will do whatever it takes to win. And since things aren't illegal anymore, he'll be able to do it at NC State, and he'll do it at a high. They will be back before you know it. So NC State fans, if you're down a little bit, don't be. Y'all will be back before you know it. And Coach Keats, he was a coach here at Louisville. Love that man. Wish him nothing but the best. Let me get about 200,000 next time you're in town, and we'll be cool. I'll talk you up. And yeah, so they'll be back. There's no worry for the Wolfpack. Go ahead, Will.
All right, let me talk to you here. Yeah, I agree. I think if they can somehow land Will Wade, they're going to be back towards the top of the league within 2 years. I think that's really on. But let's stick to the topic here and talk and get back to Louisville a minute, because I think what stands out to me the most this year is this is a really, really good defense, and it's not like they pop in one particular category. They're just really good at just making stops. I mean, they were number 2 in the ACC behind Duke in defensive efficiency on KenPom. What did you see from this defense that made it so good this year?
Well, it's just the athletes, man. This backcourt of Terrence Edwards and Chucky Hepburn remind me a lot of Peyton Siva and Russ Smith. A lot of Edgar Sosa and Jerry Smith. Just defensive hounds. And if you want to put team-wise together, and I hate to do this because people are going to be like, Jeremy said we're going to win the national championship this year. That's not what I'm saying. This team, though, the athletes with Rain, Javon, Scott, they remind me a whole lot of Gorgie, Shane Behannon, Wayne Blackshear, Peyton Siva, and Russ Smith. Now, that did equate to a national championship. I'm not saying our team's going to win the national championship, but what I will say is their style's a lot like that. Coach P was always really, really big on defense. If the offense came, he was cool with it. but he was a defensive-minded guy, and that's what it reminds me. They're just hounds on Chucky Hepburn will take the ball from you anytime he wants. There's a reason why he may end up being number one all-time single season in steals. I believe above Russ and Peyton he'll beat by the end of this year if he keeps up. I don't know that we've ever had anybody average 4 steals a game for the season, but he's pretty close. They're just, and then the guys were defending. They try to get smart, and they're like, "Well, we'll just move away from Chucky." And then Terrence, I like to call him Ted too, or Ted Diculous. That's what we should call him after Russ Diculous, because his game is a little Russ Diculous. Ted Diculous, as we have coined him now, patent pending, entering it in right now. He'll pick your pocket. He'll cause deflections. He causes all kinds of frustration defensively. And then, gosh, man, Javon Hadley's right. I mean, just name a player, and they play great defense. James Scott, into his interior defense may not be what we like, what we're accustomed to, but he'll get some block shots. Hadley gets some block shots. It's just crazy, man. I know a lot of people be like, "Well, Jeremy, you're just this excited because of how bad the last 2 years were," and maybe that's a portion of why I'm excited. But anybody that's watched a Louisville game, and if you've not watched one, watch the last 10 Louisville games, start to finish. You'll walk away so impressed. A lot of people see the Louisville name and are like, "Oh, okay, they're back in the polls just because they're Louisville." No, they're back in the polls because they're really daggone good, and they play defense is their calling card. They held Stanford to the lowest, and I know that's not a big deal, but Stanford's played a lot of good teams this year. They had the lowest first half score of the season because of Louisville. So I'm excited, man. I'm so excited for the upside of this team. I don't think there's anything they can do to let me down other than lose the opening game of the NCAA tournament. These guys have come to Louisville, been unselfish, bought in. Sky's the limit, man. I haven't been this excited for a Louisville team since 2013, and that's the God's honest truth.
It's impressive. One of the players Kelsey brought with him from Charleston was Rain Smith. Somebody I'm just gonna be honest, never really heard of him until he came on the team this year, and he's the team's three-point specialist. He's almost 40% from three, and he's really like the only one that is a great three-point shooter. So what did Rain Smith bring to the team?
Man, what did he bring to the team? 100 3-pointers this season. He's another guy that he benefits being wide open because people are trying to double Chucky. They're trying to double Ted Diculous. They're trying to double Javon Hadley, and Rain's wide open over there. And so earlier in the year, so Taekwon Dean, I don't know if y'all remember him or not, had the record for most threes in a game for Louisville with 9. Now, he only shot 13. He went 9 for 13. Rain Smith shot like 32 threes that game and ended up breaking the record by hitting, I don't know if it was 32, but it was at least 20 threes he shot that game. Hit 10 of them, broke the record. They keep leaving him open that many times. He's going to hit the threes. And I'm trying to look this up real quick. I'm not trying to disrespect you all by not looking at you, even though I don't like to really look at you all that much. But that's a joke. I'm pretty sure I'm going to text my guy who's the stat guy for Louisville before we get off the air. I'll have you an answer. Rain Smith is within 15 3-pointers of being the all-time leader in single-season three-pointers over Taekwon, over DeJuan Wheat. I'm going to get the full list for top 5 for you all before we get off the air tonight. But it's just been crazy. And they leave him wide open. And yes, he misses shots, but he hits more shots. Well, he may miss more shots than he hits, but my God, he's hit 6 threes probably about 15 times this season in a game. It's crazy.
Jim, I'm going to pass it back to you.
All right. Sorry, I was a little distracted there. The whole
I tend to do that to people.
Not being able to look at us was really hurting. It hit home. I just don't know what to say. Actually, I was looking up the latest bracket from our friend Jason Carmella, Big Underdog, and seeing where he has Louisville. He has Louisville on the number 8 line. And that's interesting. And yeah, we'll have to talk to Jason a little bit about that and see what his thoughts are. And you want us to pass anything along to him, Jeremy?
Yes. Ask him why. Why are we at 8 seed?
We will ask him.
And I don't have any beef. I don't have any beef with I didn't mean to interrupt you, Will, even though it did kind of make me a little happy inside. I don't know the guy.
Oh, he's good. Trust me.
He doesn't sound very intelligent. I'm just kidding, Jason. If you know, you don't know me, but I'm just joking. And 8, so you're telling me that we are somewhere between the 29th and the 32nd best team in the country. How many teams ahead of us then have won 17 out of their last 18 games? And don't say, well, you're in a crappy conference, because there's a couple of teams, I'm sure you've got Duke and Clemson ahead of us. They've done the same thing. Why are they so high?
And Duke obviously in the 1 line.
Well, that's crazy, because we beat the piss out of Clemson. Excuse my language. And we hung with Duke. So why? Now, if he got on here and he tells you all, and I want y'all to let me know what he says. If he tells y'all,
I will.
Well, it's because they've not been good in a couple of years and we're timid to rank them so high.
He won't do that.
That's fine. No, I'm saying if that's his explanation is, well, Louisville's been down for a couple of years, kind of skeptical and timid putting them higher, because I could understand that. I've been the same way too. I've been timid. I've been skeptical. But what's his reasoning? That's what I'd want to know. Jeremy Wahman, Cardinal Sports Zone here in the front. Why do you have us as an 8? Now, if you ask me what do I feel like we should be, I would say I feel like we should be a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
But not a 8. Even a 6 feels low to me. And Joe Leonardo or Lunatico, he's got us as a 7, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we actually talked to him last week, and because when we had him on, he had him as a 7 seed, and I flat out asked him the exact same question. And I think his response was something along the lines of just not getting, quality wins over the last month. I mean, yeah, you're beating like Boston College, Miami, NC State, Virginia Tech, Cal, but you're still winning them. I think at some point, even when you're beating some of these teams on the road, I mean, you won at Virginia Tech, you won at Notre Dame, won at NC State, won at Boston College, won at SMU by 25. I mean, yeah, SMU's not going to tournament, but still, you beat probably.
They were when we beat them. That's the thing about it.
Yeah,
when we played a lot of these teams, they were really good at that time, and we weren't that good. Now we have people always have said, well, wait till after the first year, your team will gel. And I've never seen it. Never seen it. I've saw it now. I've saw a lot of things in my lifetime, but this is the first time I've ever seen a team gel and improve every game going down the stretch. But I would be interested with that argument. That argument's not, I wouldn't accept that argument. What's the guy looking? Are you looking for great defense? Well, Louisville's got that. Are you looking for, a team that's got a guy that can catch an alley-oop from anywhere on the court? Louisville's got that. You're looking for a three-point specialist? Louisville's got that. Louisville's the only team in the country that have had 4 30-point scorers in the season. Louisville leads all schools with 4 30-point scorers. Like, what are you looking for? Like, what do you look? Oh, they've not played. Who has Duke played in the last 2 months that is any better than who we played? Can y'all? I'm literally keyed off right now. Not at you all, just in general. When you talk about my Cardinals, now you could say all you want to the last 2 years, and there wouldn't have been, I couldn't have shook a stick at you because you'd been right. But hold on real quick.
We have to stir you up just a little bit. Just
he's putting on the promo glasses.
For fun.
I had to turn Hill for a second, Will. Oh. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, boy.
Anybody that says Louisville's not a top 25 team or not a top 5 seeded team can go frost themselves, if you know what I mean. That's ridiculous. This team has got anything that you would say. Let's take the names off the jerseys. What are you looking for? Will, let's ask you. What are you looking for in a top 25 team?
a team that's good on preferably on both ends of the both ends of the court, who can, score, rebound, and I think Louisville can do all that.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to set you up for listen, I'm trying to do the Rock and Jay thing here real quick. So are you looking for a team that's got good 3-pointers, shooters?
Got that.
Are you looking for a team that's got an alley-oop threat every time you go down the court?
Got that.
Yeet. Got that. Yeet. Are you looking for a team that can play lights out defense at any time during the game?
Got it.
Got that. Are you looking for a team that can score from anywhere on the court with a variety of different people?
Got that.
Yeet. So, okay, let me get out of my yeetness. I definitely don't want Will to yeet all over himself.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. But no, that when people say, "Oh, well, Louisville's this, Louisville's that," their benefit. Well, then why is Clemson and Duke? Can anybody tell me who has Clemson played in the last 2 months that's any better or any worse than who? Nobody. They played the same teams. Who's Duke played? And that's not a knock. I hate even taking it out on them but I know them. I don't know the rest of the teams that are ahead of us. But what I will say is I'm very confident you put any of those teams on the court against us, put any of the 8 seeds, 7, 6, 5, 4 seeds, Louisville is going to run them off the basketball court.
Let me tell you who also is on that 8 line. Mississippi State, UConn, Creighton.
And this is y'all's buddies seed lines, right? So I'm going to try to be a little respectful here. That's ridiculous. I mean, and not to throw my guy Nolan under the bus, because God knows he was thrown under the bus enough by old Mr. Clean. I'm trying to fit in as many of those as I can.
Just call him Penny Kane.
yes, Penny Kane. Memphis beat UConn this year. And Memphis is in the American Athletic, which is not I think they are. That's not a conference but Memphis is a top 25 team. They beat UConn. They probably beat Creighton. I don't know if they even played. I'm just saying that just because I'm aggravated. It takes a lot to get me aggravated, and you all have sufficiently blown the roof off of my hat, which has blown the roof off of this facility.
We know you so well, and
8 seed,
exactly
8 seed.
Where to poke the bear.
So let me tell you this: all of our players could be legless, and we would be an 8 seed.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's stop there while we're ahead, I guess is the best way to put that.
Wow. I'll call a timeout. I need a 30-second timeout to calm down.
Take a little deep breath. Deep breath.
Maybe some of the spring water y'all sent me that's not really fresh.
Spring. That's not spring water, man.
There's nothing in there. I'm just.
It's reconstituted.
It's rain. It's one of Rain Smith's NIL opportunities. It's rainwater brought to you by the Louisville Water Company. Just kidding.
Rain Wilson.
Very, very close to putting those back on. Y'all had me at a level 10 on the heat level. If this was Hot Ones, the Hot Wings show, y'all would have had me on that last wing right there.
Yeah. Would you do that show by any chance?
No.
I mean, can you eat that kind of stuff?
I probably could, but okay. So I'm getting older now, Jim. I know we've known each other for about 10 years now, a decade.
Yeah, at least.
I have started to realize don't do things that are going to hurt you. Before it was fun because we're in our 30s and it's like, man, right. I was in my 30s. I think you were probably still well ahead of me at that point.
I was in my 70s at that point.
But now, I'm into my 40s and I'm like, hey, let's not burn our mouth out.
For other things.
What I was always the first person to offer to help people move. Now I see somebody's name come up on my caller ID. I know they're moving.
Nope.
I send them a text. Sorry, at work. What's up? Even though I'll be sitting at home, sitting here in the studio, just hanging out. Like I'm not. Like I don't want my back to be in a million pieces. So I have gotten wiser the last 10 years, and I have gotten more selective, more efficient, if you will.
That's right. Smart man. You've always struck me as being smart, or the potential of being smart, at least.
I'm probably one of the world's top 10 most intelligent people, and humble too.
Humble pie. Oh God. Oh
So
man.
before we wrap up, can I just share a story?
Yes,
And I
please.
want to. This is a positive promo for Jeremy.
A positive.
So yeah, I'm gonna talk good about him for a moment. Not
Okay.
trying to get anything,
Surprise
but
me.
I just wanted to tell a good story before we
Hmm.
wrap up.
I love it.
So this was a year ago, during the 23 season, actually. If y'all remember during I think it was the 23 season, it was during the Louisville, Virginia game. Perry Jones, running back, was severely injured. He
Oh yeah.
ended up in the
Yep.
hospital
I remember that.
I was think it was, I can't remember, I remember it was like a Thursday night game or something. He ended up being hospitalized in Louisville. Saturday, I'm at work, get a random phone call. It was not random, but I get a phone call and I look down. It's the person at the bottom of the screen, Mr. Jeremy. He tells me, "Hey, I want to, you know, I've got some people who want to get in touch with Perry Jones, or the hospital, and want to find out where he is so we can send get well cards and whatnot to him. Can you help me with that?" I was like, "Yep, I will get back to you as soon as I have information." Got the information, gave it back to him. He did exactly what he said he would. So just wanted to prop you up for that, Jeremy.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we actually even tried to arrange a meetup, but the hospital wouldn't. They didn't think that they thought it might be too overwhelming for him. We just wanted to show our love and support because nobody wants to see anybody
Yeah.
get hurt. Nobody wants to see anybody get injured on the field like that. That was a very sombering, surreal moment when it happened. Everybody that was in attendance just it was almost like I'll tell you this: the most the scariest moment that I've ever been in attendance for was the 2013 regionals in Indianapolis. We were playing Duke. We beat the Frog Balls off of Duke, and that's when Kevin Ware
Oh,
snapped his leg in half. And I was sitting front row. He fell right in front of me. I saw the bone sticking out. It was nasty. It was disgusting, and that was the scariest moment of watching it. This was right up there with it. It was so. So at the end of the day, we're still, no matter what color we wear, unless it's that royal blue up the road, we're still all humans that are non-related, and we still don't want anybody to get hurt. And that was, yeah, that's something. That's one thing I hang. There's a persona. Okay, me and Will are big wrestling fans, and Jim used to be a wrestling fan back in the 20s. Um, we see big personas on TV, and I think that I've kind of adapted my on screen, my radio persona, because I am a very outspoken, confident guy. So I try to embrace that because that's what pays the bill. People love to see the outspoken, the crazy takes and stuff like that. But the difference with me is that everything I say is 1,000% me. It's 1,000% true. But at the end of the day, I'm still that really good guy that does stuff like that. Um, and I appreciate you saying that. And before we get off here tonight, I want to say, I again, I'm going to the show. So backstory. I'm going to Charlotte for the first time to cover the ACC tournament, and I hadn't planned on doing that this year. 3 weeks ago, our men's basketball beat writer, Ben Gumble, he was 29 years old, got sick on the way to work, went into the emergency room, didn't make it out. And he had been telling me how excited he was to go to Charlotte and how that was a dream of his. And this was his third year being the main men's basketball beat writer. He was so excited to follow this team. Um, he loved this team and he wanted to go. So I'm going in his honor. Um, and, yeah, yeah. So I want to honor him. His family, great people, love them. Even though his mom's a Kentucky fan, I don't fault her for that. I told her when she told me she was a Kentucky fan, I said, "Well, we all grew up with things wrong with this. That's nothing you could probably help." But yeah, I'm doing this in his honor. I also would love. I've been wanting to knock this off my bucket list. So when I realized I had a chance to honor him, I was like, well, it's a no-brainer. So we're gonna go out to Charlotte next week. We're gonna have a great time for Ben. We're gonna have a great time for Louisville. and hopefully we get a couple of wins, and I don't have to just go up on Thursday and come home Friday.
Sounds like a good plan. And you're a man with a big heart, and we love the hell out of you, Jeremy. To be honest with you, that's why we like to have you on the show, and that's why we call you friend.
Even though I have to beg to come on, I appreciate that.
I don't know how I ended up as the middleman, all that, but we're glad to have you, man. We love talking to you,
ladies and gentlemen. If you could,
there we go.
At the beginning of this show, I was going to read every single bit of that conversation between Will, Jeremy, and myself, because Will literally was the middle person in this whole mess. And it's hilarious. Going through that whole thing is absolutely hilarious to look at it and go, oh my God, these people are out of their minds. And
I told the truth. I told the truth. I don't know, like, well, I mean, go ahead. You know what? Let's just go ahead.
I'm not reading.
I will. You know me. I love to talk. I'm going to read.
Go ahead.
I said, hey man, we need to link up again, man. I miss you all. I need back on the pod ASAP. He said, it's been a while. I'll let Jim know. I said, you're dang right you will. Please, LOL. Jim's response, tell him when his last check clears, we'll consider having him on again as long as he pays cash. And I said, I don't know what this video is, and I won't play it live because it may have had a couple of nerdy nerds in there. But
no, it wasn't dirty.
It wasn't. That shocked me, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it was sent by Will, so it wouldn't be dirty.
Okay, fair enough. But then he writes me back. Will says, if you're free Sunday at 7:45 Eastern time, come on. To which I responded, I channeled my inner Roman Reigns. I said, you tell that son of a gun I'm never free. I'm money. I'm the rating spike, the needle mover, the whole effing show, the OPC, the original podcast champion. He will acknowledge me or perish. LOL. Just remind me on Sunday. Will do. I'll just sit there and yeet while you two talk. Maybe I'll turn heel and join you, which is awesome. Yes, yeet to me. That sounds dirty. Never mind. Don't yeet to me. It is what it is. But no, I do a lot of shows. You guys are my favorites. This is the one I have the most fun.
Because everybody, I'm telling you.
Well, I literally was sitting here. So just a little bit of foreshadowing, and then I'll let everybody get off here and go home and enjoy their evening or whatever. But I was sitting there, and one of Will's tweets popped up on my timeline, and it made me laugh, and that's why I remembered it, because it's so rare that he made me laugh.
Thanks.
And I was like, not a problem. I was like, oh, Will popped me a little bit with that. Okay, wonder what they have been up to. And then so I reached out. I was like, man, I need to be on at least once every 3 months, if not every 6 months. I would be willing to compromise at every 6, but no, you guys are genuinely good people. We have a good time. Oh, you can handle every 3 months of Jeremy. I am amazing. I look great. It's been a while since I've looked great. I look slim. I look trim. I look amazing. So, and y'all don't look half bad. I won't tell you which half, but you don't look half bad.
I know who you complimented at the front of the show, so leave it there. Oh gosh, sure. Jeremy Wahman, CSZ podcast, the website, so much more. Doing a lot of live stuff too. You guys get around and talk in the kind of in the circle there. It's I would go a little further with that, but I can't do that because it's a family program. But when it comes down to Louisville sports, inside, outside, and in knowing what's going on and really telling you how they feel about things, you couldn't ask for any better. So, Jeremy, I always appreciate you coming on.
No, we just have a good. If y'all lived in Louisville, you'd be sitting around this table bull crapping with us every Friday night.
Holy smokes!
And it would be a great time. Well, I'm shocked you haven't.
Let me.
That might be true. Well, I'm shocked you haven't. I put a couple of Easter eggs around the room, and you've noticed most of them. But have you noticed what's behind my left shoulder there, underneath the cardinal bird?
I've been planning to ask you about that. I see it. The white belt.
The Cody Rhodes Intercontinental Championship, as we like to call it.
Okay.
So
I see it.
Oh yeah, dude. One day, shoot me again. I will admit this. This isn't because I'm getting more seasoned and older, but because of the traumatic stay I had in the hospital, my memory is not as great. And this 100% telling the truth here. I'm very forgetful as far as when people ask me to do something. My wife's like, well, you've been doing that with me our whole life. And I'm like, no, not really. But yeah. But like, I have to be reminded. So remind me later in the week, tomorrow or Tuesday, and I'll go downstairs and we just got my entire basement renovated, and I'll shoot it to you, and then you can shoot it to Jim, because I've got your phone number. Jim's never texted me or called me at all. So
no, I just sent him. Anyway.
He just sends me National Geographic worthy gifts. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's good for him. It's good for him. Anyway, Jeremy, say hi to everybody for us, man. Maybe we'll try to get you guys all on again.
That was fun.
That will be fun. God bless Sean, though. 44, the 44-year-old virgin. It's crazy.
Not going there. Not going there.
The movie, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, turned 20 years old this week.
Yeah.
The 60 years. Sean probably will be the 6th. Never mind.
Never. All right. Jeremy Wahman, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. It's great to always have you on ACC Nation.
I think I'm throwing an L. It could be a J. I don't know. These cameras trick me.
ACC Nation, your source for ACC sports coverage with Will and Jim. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on our podcast, streaming radio, and YouTube. Connect with us on Blue Sky, Reddit, Instagram, Threads, Mastodon, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn.